This, though, is also a question for you, Sam. How do you think your birth order plays a role in your personality? Now, before we start off here, I'll say this.
And youngest.
Robert, yeah, you're the oldest and the youngest of one. Robert and I are both the oldest of two biological siblings.
Well, just on your end, too.
You have more. You have a brother also?
I just have one sibling that I'm older than. So.
What did you think I would?
You said you have two siblings that you're older? That you're older than?
Robert and I are both the oldest of two. We each have one sibling, and we are the oldest of the two siblings pairs. However, I have a yeah, there we are. Here's me, Robert.
Oh, I was legit looking for Andy in that picture. I was like, how did he know
I have
his
6 step siblings? You'll see the photo. You'll know. I think you guys have seen it before. But I have 6 step siblings too. So I don't know how this really applies to me. But here's what the story is. The theory is that birth role and birth order plays a role in the formation of our personalities. First began being heavily studied by psychotherapist Alfred Adler in the early 20th century. And his theories continue to be studied today. A recent poll of over 1,700 people were asked to compare themselves to their siblings on different parameters. The results that came back were that younger siblings tended to think that they were more funny, more relaxed, and easygoing. Meanwhile, the older siblings felt they were more responsible, more organized, and more successful. That's Julie. Is that Julie and her sister? There's Robert and his sister. Researchers from the study said every child. Oh, that's just young Sam. Researchers from the study said every child is looking for a niche in their family. Firstborn children have the privilege of finding their niche first and usually define their role as responsible and more conscientious, often in an attempt to please their parents. The youngest child, meanwhile, tries to distinguish themselves from their older siblings and often become more emotional, more creative, and funny. Finally, if there is one, the middle child often experiences the most jealousy and is most likely to be a rebel in the family, but also learn valuable skills that helps them get along with people easily. And if you're an only child, Sam, well, researchers said since they are often provided with all the support they need and mainly surrounded by older people, they tend to be more intelligent, motivated, and likely to be very successful when they grow up.
And yeah, here I am with you fine people.
Oh.
So I am not doing any better than my counterparts with siblings. So go me! Happy birthday, Sam. No, I'm married to a middle child, and I feel like all the study, it's like thanks to the study, because they all say something different. But I agree that they could not be more different as human beings. There's just such, like, sometimes I'm like, how are you guys all related? Because siblings are already weird to me because I didn't grow up with any, but seeing the dynamic of a middle, youngest, and oldest is just so bizarre. And I don't know how your relationships are with Ben and Robert, your sister, who's just graduated high school, right?
Yeah.
So much younger. How is it? I would love to know.
I think Julie pointed this out. It's when there's a big gap like that, you're not as close as those who have just a year gap. I know my ex and his sister just were a year apart, and they were so tight. And I was just, I don't know, I was kind of amazed because I was like, I'm not like that with my sister. I wish I was, but I'm just not. We're almost 10 years apart, which is quite a bit. She's still young now, but maybe when she gets older, we will be able to vibe a little more. I don't know.
She's like 18?
Yeah, my math is wrong. I'm sorry. It's a little less than 10 years, but yeah, she is 18. So yeah.
Okay.
So you're like 5 years apart.
Just exaggerating a little bit. Yes.
But still, I get it. Yeah. My brother and I are 4 years apart, and I think that to me the whole thing always was like the younger older sibling thing was the older sibling was always like in charge and always got in trouble more, and the younger sibling could get away with stuff more. And I think that probably was true, maybe. But Ben is way more responsible than I am. He's way more well-adjusted, I think. Certainly more organized and diligent than I ever was. And I want to say he's also very funny. So I don't know. It's interesting. In looking at this, I kind of just sort of feel more insecure about myself.
Oh, no!
And what I've not been able to do or accomplish. But no, I think that I imagine growing up with me was probably very difficult because I sucked up all the air in every single room. So he forged a really wonderful path just doing things that I didn't do and doing them very well. So there was a lot of those too. So he's great.
But I think it's interesting about this study is that the results all come back saying what they being the youngest, oldest, whatever, think of themselves.
Yeah.
The younger siblings tend to think that they were more funny, more relaxed, more easygoing. That didn't say they were. Older siblings thought they were more responsible, organized, successful, but are they? I mean, I have no anecdotal evidence really, but I think it's funny that evidence, here's all our research of what they thought about themselves.
Yeah.
I want to know if they are.
That's a good question. I don't know. You're right. Julie says that she has an older sister, but due to their age gap of 10 years, she often felt like an only child growing up, and so she shares traits from being both a younger and an only child. So she says. So that is fascinating. I don't know. I'm gonna ask. I'm thinking about like my dad and his sisters. My dad's the middle child, and his sister is an older sister and a younger sister. So there's the 3 children, and their dynamic is very interesting. They're very different, and each of their personalities, I think, is very unique, and unique in a way that sort of fills in the gap where the other one maybe wouldn't be, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting how like group dynamics are naturally shape themselves, and I wonder even with us too, because obviously we're not siblings, but when you think about this, it's like even if you're around people and they bring out certain other things from you and they end up balancing you in different ways. It's just really fascinating.
Yeah, I often forget Robert actually is like 10 years younger than us.
Yeah.
By his math, at least 10 years younger.
But it definitely, I don't know. I'm older so though, so we have lots in common, and it's very easy to talk with you guys, even off the show. We just gel so easily. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know. It's because I grew up as an only child for a long period of time that I'm able to get along with people who are older than me. I don't know, but I don't really vibe with people who are younger than me. So it definitely does not go both ways, unfortunately. So
I tend to agree with that. I mean, growing up with not a lot of younger people in my life, like I didn't have a lot of exposure to babies or like young toddlers. Maybe that's why I still don't have kids, but I just feel like as an only, I know, I don't hold it. Well, you're just like, as an only child, you're taken to a lot of adult functions. Right. Because that's just it. You're tagged along with your parents, and you learn to have adult conversation and manners and all that stuff for the most part. But now I'm like, look, kids, like,
I know.
They freak me out.
I honestly, I don't know if it has much to do with that, because I think some people are just born to have kids. They just are.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess.
I was born to be a mom. I've never felt that way. And like my dad's side of the family, many women in on his side of the family did not have children, and they just grew to be very successful, distinguished women. And I don't know if I was influenced by that or not, but maybe it's the only child thing, maybe it's that, I don't know, but I'm just like, God will provide that when it is time, but Sam, I will never be like, I'm ready. I feel like it's never, it doesn't click with me, whereas I hear, oh my God, I can't wait to have kids. I'm like,
well, you do have a dog that needs a diaper, so I mean, you're kind of on the way there.
That's so true. I've like been changing it, like, oh God, this feels weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right, here's a look at what's coming up in the KTLA News at 6, and when we come back, we'll check out on the Facebook group very quickly. I promise we'll do it fast. Facebook.com/group/KTLA5 Live.
Stay asleep and on the sofa.